Well, behind me is the Church of St. Paul's, and it's right beside the railway tracks here. I'm at the Vicar of St. Paul's here, and so I've got something to do with trains at the very least, because they pass this church throughout the day. Well, these days there's only about 4 trains a day, but in past days there used to be a few more. So that's why I thought I'd do some videos as the train vicar. Yes, you heard right, the train vicar, not the training vicar, nor the vicar in training, even though I think I'm still that as well, because I'm fairly new to the role still. And so yes, I'm interested in trains. I'm also a vicar, and here at St. Paul's. And so I thought I want to bring those two things together and look at the world of railways and how we see God and see God in the world and interact with God. And I hope through some of those videos to explore that, how what we see in the world of railways can teach us about Jesus and give us a better understanding of the world as a whole. As you can hear from my accent and me confusing my V's and W's, I'm originally from Germany, and that's where I grew up. But I've actually lived in New Zealand longer than I've lived in Germany, and I've also lived in a few other countries since I came here. Now, I grew up in Germany, and that's where I really got fascinated with railways. I particularly remember those trips when we were coming back at night on the train, and you know, the countryside was passing by outside, sometimes with lights there, sometimes dark, and you're really comfortable sitting in the train with the houses and everything flashing by. That's what, I don't know, gave me a sense of real satisfaction and security, and it somehow fascinated me. We've also had a model railway, Markland Model Railway. We've still got part of that, so I've always played with that, and it was part of growing up, and particularly we always look forward to have it at Christmas, and later on we had it out the whole time. When I was a year old, we also lived in a railway station for a few months. I can't remember it because it was just for a few months and I was still fairly young, but I was really interested in the trains back then. Now, in those days, there would have been carriage trains hauled by diesel locomotives. Nowadays, in that station, the trains that stop there are actually light rail trains. So it's under the Karlsruhe model, where those vehicles run as trams in the cities, and then they go out in the country and they run on railway lines, standard railway lines, often branch lines, small lines. And so that's what's happened there as well. It's a service that operates in the cities as trams, and then out in the country it runs on railway lines. So it was my childhood experiences that really got me interested in railways, and I still follow that interest to this day. I'm not working in railways, but I continually read about them, and from there it also then developed into an interest in transport, particularly public transport in general. I think often those childhood experiences set us up for life, and maybe it's similar also in faith for some people. It's the good experiences in family and church that helped us to trust in God, and as we then continued in our lives and prayed to God and received that assurance throughout our lives, that trust and faith deepens. Of course, it's not like that for everybody, but for some people it is like that. And so as we think back on our lives, we also get to think about the future and how that has shaped us, and I hope it has shaped us into people that can trust and that have faith.